Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. So, the video I did the other day, on the left forum, I think I was walking in Washington Square Park. I was kicking ass in Washington Square Park. This is a quick aside and a little bit of chest thumping on this one. Because, I hadn't played in a while. And so, it's nice to know my skills of, to some degree, to some measure, still intact. There may be a fraction, but understand, I was a monstrous player. So, a fraction is still kind of, packs a punch. I don't lose often. I beat one guy. I give the guy 250. And I said, so what happens if I win? He says, you get a free game. I said, you're going to be here all night, right? And he kind of like, yeah, sit your ass down. He lost over and over and over again. And I said, look, I know you want to earn money, so I'm going to get up and I'm going to leave. I'm going to do you a solid. Same thing to the next guy. A guy walks over and he says, hey, come with me. Or not come with me. He says, why are you beating up on these guys like this? Why are you over here beating these guys like this? And he says, come over to my board. Come over to my board. So it starts to rain and we're still out there. We're playing. And he's talking shit from the time he moved the board. Like to the time he moved the first piece, his mouth is going. To the time the game ends, his mouth is going. And I feel like I'm at home. Now, I know what this guy is saying. He's not being offensive. He's not having to go. None of the stuff. It is comical. It is hilarious. And you're listening, kind of, but I've got accustomed to it when I was at home. So it doesn't bother me. I would imagine it may unnerve some people. Like, if you're trying to think and there's this barrage of conversation and everything else. The trick to that is just literally just pretending like it's not there. That's the trick. You don't need to engage. You engage to the degree you want to engage, but ultimately, you don't really need to engage in what's going on. You can just focus on the game. It breaks people's concentration. It doesn't break mine. I don't care about it. Now, what it would do, though, is allow me to essentially go into this mode of, okay, I'm having fun, as opposed to I'm trying to decimate it. Now, the games ended up, I think he actually won a game, but he won on time. But in every game, he was being decimated. Like, he was being crushed each and every game. So it would be he's being crushed, time falls. He's being crushed, time falls. There's no pieces. So it's a draw. Those type of things. The last game, I was like, I said, dude, if he was annoying me, he did something that annoyed me. And I was like, you understand that those games, I'm not playing you seriously, right? I was like, you get that if I didn't want you to win a game, you wouldn't win a game. Yes, I know this braggadocious. I'm sorry. I've said worse stuff to people. And he says, well, sit down. Let's play. And he says, if I win, I get $5. I said, all right. He was crushed. One of the other guys comes over and is like, whew. That guy and I talked for like another 2 hours. He calls himself, what is it? Popcorn? It's not pop. Yeah, it's cornbread. The legendary cornbread. I shit you not. That's what he calls himself. The legendary cornbread. He says, look me up on YouTube. And I'm like, I'm not typing in legendary cornbread, dude. No, look me up. Really, man, look me up on YouTube. I take my phone out, look him up on YouTube. He has videos with like 600,000 viewers. Video after video after video after video. Come to find out, in Searching for Bobby Fischer, the movie, the Lawrence Fishburne character is this guy. It's the same guy. Lawrence Fishburne is playing the legendary Popcorn. So people from around the world, when they come to the States, if they play chess, and look, us chess players have this affinity for old things. Alkaline, Kasparov. And when you're talking about Petrosian, Tao, all these guys were monsters when they played. Tao was a swashbuckling hero when he played chess. Nobody understood how the hell he could win these games in the way that he was playing chess. He saw it in a completely different fashion. It's amazing. His perspective of the world, in a sense, was radically different than many of these other guys. How you play chess, in some degree, is an expression of how you are. It's almost like who you are just kind of merging itself on the board. In normal operations, people see that just in the decisions and everything else you make. But in chess, you see it in the contours of the game. It's an expression of the individual themselves. To some measure. I mean, granted, there's different incentives, but ultimately how a person plays is indicative of how that person is. You have these people with fire characters. You have some people who are more modest. You have others who are somewhat bland in the way they go about things. Everybody's different. Some are more aggressive. Some are more timid. It runs the gambit. All I'm saying is, that's the legendary cornbread. And it was this thing of, anytime in chess, search for Bobby Fischer. I love that film. Any chess player that you meet that played tournament chess would love that film. I swear to God. It is an emotional thing for us. You would have grown bearded men, chess players, that might have a tear in their eyes when they watch that film. It's something about it. We just have this affinity for these things. Like when you look at the old chess books, you see these guys reading these old books from these masters from old. It's our group. It's how we are in a lot of this stuff. So, so that's the detour. So all I'm saying is, it was great playing that guy, particularly since I love the film. I was able to go to Marshall Chess Club again, hallowed ground. Bobby Fischer was a fucking asshole politically, but god damn it, he could play some chess. He played simplistic chess that actually was effective and worked, and he was damn good at it. He was good at it. Alright, so let's get back to the topic. Left form. The left form. The video that I made the other day wasn't... It didn't go out well, so I'm going to do a shorter version of this one. I enjoyed the left form. I totally enjoyed it. I had a damn good time. You're around a bunch of other people who are politically inclined. Lefties. Just like you. It's not like you're bumping into somebody who has a completely different opinion than you. The range of debate ran from Greens, well, not the Greens, the resource-based economy. Get rid of money. Outright. Get rid of it all. We don't need it. And went from that to the Greens. Those were essentially the borders of the two. You had groups that were in between, but ultimately those seemed to set the borders. Now those two are firmly entrenched to the left. Firmly entrenched. There is... all I saw that was hostility towards Democrats. Hostility. So this idea that the Democratic Party represents the left is bogus. It is absolutely bogus. I didn't see anybody who said anything about a Democrat in a favorable way. That's the left. That's where we are. That's the prevailing wind in that particular arena of sorts. There's something comforting in that, if I'm being honest. It really is. You're seeing people who are socialists, Marxists, communists, all these other people. Oftentimes, when you're bumping into people, these people are robots. You know, they look at their news, they look at their television shows, they go about their life. They never necessarily question the higher things. Somebody comes and says, hey, you realize your life shouldn't be organized this way, right? I mean, there's a better way of doing this. It's kicking a programming. It doesn't make sense to them. It doesn't even come across as making sense to them. So it's nice to be around people who, for the most part, were like already there. Some further, some a little back for, the other way. But ultimately, all of you guys are in the same sandbox. It just felt good. So the second part to that, I got to meet Richard Wolff, which was amazing. And, for the most part, the stuff that Richard Wolff said is amazing. The man is absolutely bright. I strongly suspect that Richard Wolff... So the question that I asked him had to do with... What did I ask him? I asked him, oh, right. Was it far enough? Essentially, this idea of co-ops. How does it handle all these other issues that are associated with capitalism? And isn't the worker co-op idea a capitulation to capitalism? You're still functioning in the model. The only difference is you're having employees run the companies. So you're having a dictatorship private dictatorship or totalitarian government of a business fighting a democracy of a business. But the model that they're functioning under is the same. Isn't that a capitulation? Now, what I strongly suspect is Richard Wolff knows full well that that is a capitulation. But I also think he understands that you can't pull the public along too far. Meaning, there's a certain amount of leeway that the public can go. Meaning, I can only see up to that stone. I can only see to the next stone. If you show me too many stones, I can't get there. I can't follow you. I have no idea what you're doing. You're looking crazy to me. You're looking French. But if I can see to the next stone, easier to make that jump. Now the question becomes, what's the space between what you consider to be the individual and the next stone? That's somewhat conceptual, right? It's like the idea that you're going to put out. How does that idea relate to the wider population? Because ultimately you need a majority of the people in the population to pick up that idea. So how is it going to relate to what you conceive of as a majority of the population, at least within the very specific realm of economics, economic fairness, economic justice? Now, to some degree, this is going to be directed to them, meaning, how am I as an individual in my particular life? And does this offer me a better path? Not just does it offer me a better path, is it something that's doable? Now, you also have this issue of political ideology that kicks in that may say, this person is somewhat against it. I have a hard, yes, I know there are going to be some people who are against what he's saying with the worker co-ops thing, but it's mind-blowing that you would be against it. Wouldn't you like to make more money, or wouldn't you like to help run the company? No, that's okay. I like being subordinate, and I like not having any choices in my particular company. I'm just fine. Yes, that guy probably exists, but I think you're going to get more of the other guy. Now, Richard Wolff sets that out as a plank. That's in his head. He's saying the public can make that leap. They can make that jump. Richard Wolff also full well understands something else. That in making that leap and making that jump, the moment that you end up with public enterprises, meaning employees themselves, for the most part, run the companies, the decisions that these guys are going to make as a collective may be different. But I'd make the case that there are going to be some companies, even if they're employee driven, that's going to run exactly the same way as a private enterprise did. Now, the individuals in those companies are going to make more. That's true. So the employees themselves, all throughout that particular society, will start making more, and it secures their jobs internally. So that's also true. Now, I don't know how automation is going to fit into this particular process. Will the companies hold off on automation because they don't necessarily want to replace the jobs? Will they try to displace those workers in a different way? Or would they just say, hey, look, we're making the exact same stuff that we were making before. You guys can go home early. I only need you here 4 hours instead of 8. I don't know. The problem is, even if they're competing with other companies, though, they're not going to be able to do it. If you have a private enterprise that has the exact same widget, is pumping out more of those widgets, then that guy can't go home early because ultimately you're still competing with the other company. Your actions are constrained by the people around you in that sense. Meaning, even though these people are making more, these people are still doing somewhat similar things as the other companies because they need to compete with those other companies. So it's not as simple as, these co-op things. It's not a panacea. But I suspect his thought is, if I can get you to that point, something happens. You eliminate management or the elites. The thing that's held over you in that sense, meaning you get up, you go through a job for 8 hours that you hate, and for the most part, you have no decisions in the task or in that particular job task. Now, Richard Wolff is making this point of, well, if that particular employee had influence in the decisions of the company, his wages would be higher because, yes, everybody here, there's nobody making $10 million. You don't need anybody to make $10 million. The manager, that person who's running the company, will probably run it just fine for $500,000 if everybody else paid people around $500,000. Like, these things are set to advantage themselves. He doesn't deserve that much money, particularly in relation to the other employees. And he's unnecessary. The employees themselves can do just fine running the company. And so it gives the person more freedom, more decision space in that particular company. It gives them higher wages, and it to some degree solidifies his job in that company. Like, meaning he's not going to be transported abroad or something like that. So you can see the benefits. You can totally see the benefits. I mean, the benefits are absolutely there, particularly when you're talking about, well, this idea of the elite goes away in that context. It goes away. You're directly attacking that particular process, and not just that process. You're also directly attacking this plank of capitalism of control over the individual. He's talking about the workers having access to control of the production. That's essentially what he's trying to get at. But he's not saying it in that way. He's saying it in a different way of worker co-ops. But that's what it means. That's that goal. That's a socialist goal, in the underlying thing. You've always heard me say, find policies that are innocuous but have a monstrous effect on capitalism. Worker co-ops. You also free people for political action at that point. You free them for political action. You get rid of the need for unions at that point because there is no management. Workers are the management. There are a lot of positive benefits. My question was trying to get at the heart of this thing of, yes, we need to do more, but worker co-ops is an amazing thing. So, Richard Wolff is awesome. The last part is, it wasn't that it was bad. I just left with this feeling of, this was great. I had a really good time. I met a lot of people. Hopefully I'm going to do interviews with some of those people. But now what? I didn't have an answer to the now what. It's like you ran into multiple people who were at the particular place, and even in some of the sessions. And that now what just lingers in the air. It just lingers. It's always there. It's ever present, regardless in which panel you were in. Now what? Now what? It's an unanswered question. Nobody has an answer to the question. You have 50 million people who left the Democratic Party. Now what? What are they going to do? Are they going to stay out the party and just not vote? Now what? You had a bunch of leftists in a room together for 2 days. And in all those rooms, you may have people who may have talked about it and everything else, but it's this thing of, now what? Like, yes, you talked about it. But what's going to come to pass that you talked about it? And, if, for that matter, is the thing that you talked about even viable? Or is it just something that you just said? Like, is it a theoretical thing? Or is it something that you have a good faith confidence that you believe those steps would work in doing something? It just felt vacant in that sense. It's not so much that you left with this idea of hope. You just left with this idea of, I went to church and I went home. All right, what's on TV? And I don't want to minimize it, so don't get me wrong. And I know that this is kind of what I am. I'm not minimizing the event. I'm minimizing this idea of, if we're going to expend that much energy into coming together in that way, shouldn't there be something next? Or shouldn't there be something more to it? Like, a left forum called Resistance. Why wasn't that a summit? And in that summit, come up with these things that you want, these things that you vote on, that you battle against, to kind of make your own people's party of sorts. Having the sessions and seminars and everything else is good. I like it. But again, it leaves you with this kind of empty feeling of, this was good, but these guys have no plans on doing anything. And saying these guys, I'm including myself. I'm no different in that sense. I still have the now what myself. But over and over again, I would hear people say, what do you do? What do you do? One panel after the next. What do you do? And over again, there was no answer to that question, or at least no viable answer to that question. Somebody may say, oh, I have this group that I'm in. Somebody else may say, yeah, I heard that so-and-so is doing XYZ. Those aren't answers. I'm sorry, those aren't answers. And I'm not saying that people need an answer, but goddamn it, I do want an answer. Like something that, a clear path forward in the sense of, all right, this is what we're going to do. I've written something up, and I'm trying to contact a few of the other people. I contacted them on Twitter, actually, or tried to. Those are probably going to get ignored, so I'm going to send an email. I'm going to write this up because I do have somewhat of an idea. I don't necessarily think our electoral system is as unbendable as I think we think it is. But that being said, for the left form itself, it just left you with this feeling of, I don't want to say emptiness, but it was, yes, this was fun, this was awesome, I enjoyed being around these people, I enjoyed meeting these people, but now I'm just going home. I have no reasonable, belief that anything is going to come to pass just because of that particular forum. And that's saddening in a way. You know what I mean? It's like, I guess my feeling is, aren't you sick of the world the way it is? And if you're sick of the world the way it is, and you have all of these people who are outside of the party, it's like, it seems to be an ideal situation. You have a populace that, for the most part, is to the left of the parties themselves. You had Sanders, far left, by the definitions of their team, the most popular candidate in this country, by far, by in spades. That just seems to be ripe to me for something. And it kills me that there is nothing. It kills me that there's nothing. And I'm not talking about a political party. I'm talking about this just idea of organization, of accruing people with like-minded thing. Even if those like-minded people aren't necessarily, libs. The platform of this idea of money out of politics and economics will paper over a hell of a lot of items. And even if you don't get those particular people, there are 49% of independents who didn't vote. Even if Trump supporters say, you guys can piss off, you got 49% of independents who didn't vote. They're not voting for a very particular reason. You're not representing them. You're not representing them. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that. I'm not trying to take a piss on the left forum. That's not what I'm trying to do. The forum itself was great. And I suspect somebody will probably say, well, that's not the purpose of the forum. Like, the forum's purpose wasn't necessarily to create some kind of revolutionary thing. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. But still, that doesn't necessarily stop me from saying, if we're going to expend that much energy, expend it towards something that allows us to do something tangible. Sitting in a room in a panel is nice, but sitting in a room in a panel with people have no answers. It's just like everybody in this, I'm putting it this way because everybody that you run into had this desperate idea of, what do you do? And for the most part, there were blanks. Nobody had an answer. So let's see if People Summit, in essence, has an answer. The answer, I suspect, is pretty simple. Organize. The question, though, is not, the question is, how do you do that? That's the question. How do you do that and accrue people to your side? So, it's not like this is a difficult thing of saying, what do? You organize. What do you do is easy. How do you do it? It's a difficult task. That's the difficult question. That's the quagmire of sorts. Who's the guy that does it? Who's the group that does it? Who's the group of people who coalesce around a particular idea that's able to accrue a bunch of other people? Who knows? But they are needed. They are absolutely needed. So I'll leave it at that. Alright guys, if you enjoyed the content, feel free to share, like, subscribe, and you can always support the work through Patreon. Thank you.